Well, you know, I don't know why I always have to start off with giggling. I think it's because I just, I really enjoy doing this. Anyway, it's 20 after 10, Friday night. There's the train. Sometimes we hear it in the background. I got two more songs for you. It's going to be now there will be 15 free MP3 downloads that you should have. I guess there'll be like next week another 2, the week after that another 2. That should be it. I think around 19. Maybe, we'll see. Maybe more. But anyway, once again, what you have in these free MP3s are pretty much just what we were able to get off of 50-year-old tapes. The next time you hear any of these, they will either be dramatically improved sonically, or augmented with some new elements of musicians sitting in. Who knows, you know? You know, the funny thing about this, it started back in my Walking in the Word number 025 with me being outside and just singing a cappella a song called Bumblebee, actually Bumblebee Thee. But you know, a bumblebee in Hebrew is the word davar, which also means word. So that song Bumblebee, you could say, is about Abba's word. And after all, you know, the hook on it was, why don't I love you, why don't you love me, why don't we love each other and esteem Elohim. But it's kind of funny that it started with that one. We don't have a copy of that one, which means that, and we've talked about, like, who knows where this whole thing progresses. It may wind up with Mark Palladino coming out here to New Jersey from Los Angeles and us going in the studio and cutting some new tunes. Bumblebee would be one. And anyway, once again, there's something very special about this project because it manifested by itself. It's been flowering, and once we decided to grab a hold of it and do something with it, Mark and I, we also agreed to pray and follow Elohim's lead, because Elohim he's in the business of restoration. And here we have songs that were recorded 50 years ago and they're being restored. I honestly think the Father has a great plan for this. I could be wrong. We'll find out, but I believe. And so does Mark and some other people. And so we are pursuing it, pitching tents with Elohim constantly in prayer and so on. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying these songs. It's certainly a lot of fun for me to hear them and myself, you know, after 50 years. Anyway, the first song is called Strings of Wonder. It's a pretty cool song about, you know, my guitar. The notes I have here is it's about writing, singing, and playing. The tuning I just took the B string and lowered it to an A. That's a weird one. And that's part of what, when you hear the guitar playing, that little shift on one string is what got me excited and got me playing the chords and the riffs and the patterns that you hear. Those things would never happen in any other tuning. Oh, many things I sing, all written deep in the night. I wonder what to think and fear of what to find. And the moon sits so naked. Was my news, the music, the song I use as the theme song for my newscast is Naked Moon. 50 years ago, the moon sits so naked, hiding not a thing. Me, my hands are shaken, shaken, shaken in my dreams, and these strings of wonder build to bust, snapping wild in the dust. By the way, I have some verses here that are optional, but I'm pretty sure in the recording, they're all there because it's another, I think it's 5.5 minutes, maybe longer. Nobody was allowed to record songs more than 3 minutes back in the day. Unless you were Bob Dylan, he did one that was like over 20 minutes. It was dynamite, man. But yeah, I just wrote until I was satisfied. Verse 2, now outside lies reality, but who can really see? Reality is in the naked moon, and the moon is a mystery. And the clouds are dancing gracefully, they stand for what you see. Me, I sit here waiting, waiting, waiting to be free, to be free. And these strings of wonder build to bust, snapping wild in the dust. Hey, now I loved a girl of blonde and blue. It's Janet Kinlan. My mind was overwhelmed. She once stood way up in the clouds, but she fell down to the ground. Yeah, but I don't mind, I'm naked now. I need no eyes to see. Reality is in the moon. Well, the moon is inside of me, and these strings of wonder build to bust, snapping wild in the dust. No, that's only 2/3. I mean, that's only 3/5 of the song. Hey, you tell me that you're wondering now, wondering of your life. Well, life is what you make it, babe, so you better make it right. The mountains reach for wisdom, the trees for truth, they grow. And me, I'm still walking down that road, down that long and lonely road. Still, and these strings of wonder build to bust, snapping wild in the dust. And the clouds, they are passing now. The darkness comes to light. Sounds like another scene of the second coming. So many people laughing hard, trying to hide their fright. And the midnight trains coming down the track, nobody knows where from. Me, I stand here waiting to get on. And these strings of wonder build to bust, snapping wild in the dust. May 4th, 1969. I was 18, and you can see my big book is getting colorfully organized. Let me get this out of the way. And then song number 2, this one's pretty cool. It's titled Moondog's Eyes. I always pictured kind of a shaggy sheepdog. You know, just a dog in my imagination. This was written in April of '72. I was 21. Words were written December of '71. And I don't know what inspired this. I had a glass bottleneck, and I was messing around playing slide guitar, and this song just came out. It's only 3 verses, But it's got some really cool lyrics, and this recording was done in a studio out in LA called Cherokee Studios, owned by a famous drummer named Craig Krampf, K-R-A-M-P-F, who, I didn't know Craig when we recorded this. I'm sure I met him, but I don't remember him. But let's see, this was 72. A good 20 years later, in the early 90s, everybody started leaving LA and coming to Nashville. And that's pretty much when I left Nashville, was in 93. Craig came out, might have been around 89 or something like that, and he, pretty sure I told the story before, Melissa Etheridge was in town performing at the Bluebird Cafe, very, very cool club. And Craig had produced her first album, smash hit, and I was there at the show with some friends from RCA Records, and we're sitting right in front of the stage, and Craig played drums, and at one point he leaned back and he played The Wall. I told that story in an earlier sit down in the Word. But I contacted him, we got together. I still didn't, I never mentioned this recording session. I didn't know that he was the owner of Cherokee Studios. I mean, Mark and I talked about Craig, but I don't know, somehow I never connected with Craig like, hey man, I recorded in your studio when I was 21 years old, you know, like 18 years ago. Do you remember it? We never got to sit down and talk. But this song, Moondog's Eye, was a very memorable evening. I remember being in the studio, playing it and singing it, and looking up at one point, and there's usually a big glass window. Behind that is the engineering room, and there had to be a dozen people in there, and they were all, the lights were real dim. And they were all like rocking back and forth to the tempo of the song. It's just a real wonderful moment. Here goes the phone again. That was Mark Palladino. He's working on the songs. Anyway, Moondog's Eyes. These roads are mellow like old Moondog's eyes. We all sit around eating day-old pie. These couches and chairs need a little repair, but we feel right good about being here. Oh ma, it's a good old life. Like a good book, it's a good old life. Oh ma, 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 it's such a good old life. Looking in old Moondog's eyes, just looking in old Moondog's eyes. Misty broke a leg, but we got it healed by the county doctor down in Bakersfield. He didn't charge a cent. Lord, he just came and went. And now Misty's got a smile on her face again. Oh ma, it's a good old life, like a good book, it's a good old life. Ma, 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 it's such a good old life. Looking in old Moondog's eyes, just looking in old Moondog's eyes. Then I play a little bottleneck. Now the music plays on my rocking chair, and I'm breathing deep when I breathe out here. I just sit and wait by the window pane to get the evening stars to come out again. Oh ma, it's a good old life, like a good book. It's a good old life, like the good book. Oh ma, 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 it's just a good old life. Looking in old Moondog's eyes. Just looking in old Moondog's eyes. Let me get this out of the way. So, you should enjoy that one. It's me playing slide guitar. We had my good friend Bob Leapman playing mando cello. There was a guy there playing an accordion. The accordion was just so cool for this song. And you know, I forget who or what else, but this, you know, this is just right off the 50-year-old tape. You're not going to hear the kind of separation that Mark's going to wind up getting when he's done doing what he's doing this very night. And then, you know, like I've told you before, I'm going to take everything to this other mastering lab. I don't even know what they do, but it's world renowned. And that's going to just make it sound like these things were recorded today. Then some of them kind of leave it up to Mark. He and I will be talking, and he might say, man, you know, congas on this, and, you know, let's put a bigger arrangement behind that. We'll just see how it goes. Not concerned. I don't expect anything. We're just having fun. We're just following Abba's lead, and we'll see where it leads to, you know. Might not lead to anything. Who cares? We're all enjoying these songs, you know. There's some other things going on. Can't tell you about it yet. I'll tell you about it when it's important. It's Friday night, so last night I did the live stream without caregiver. And boy, it was a lot more tiring, I gotta tell you, because, you know, it's just more stressful. I didn't, like, you know, if caregiver stops and then tells me, you know, oh, somebody so-and-so is asking a question, you know, here's the question. That's a little moment that I have to just, you know, relax for a moment. Those little moments add up. Or if I have somebody else on with me and they're talking, that's even more moments. But last night there were no moments, and I felt it. And like I mentioned last night, I'm getting excited. I got the back door here is wide open. The temperatures are up. I almost thought maybe I could go out today and do a walk in the Word, but it's raining and stuff, so. And also, you know, like, you know, I said last night was tiring. Getting out to do the walk in the Word. I don't know if you remember last year when I first started doing the walk in the Word, I was talking about being out of breath. Well, there's some things going on in my life, my friends, that I don't tell anybody about for the most part. But I've had some very lengthy, non-stop, very high level things of pain that have beaten my body down, where there were days where if I just got up, walked to the kitchen and went back to my chair, I was out of breath because my body was so beaten. I'm talking about, you know, when they say, you know, how's your pain, 0 to 10, try 50, and like, you know, 24/7. There are times I'm sitting in front of the camera, not recently, but not very long ago, where you'd be surprised. So anyway, certainly your prayers are appreciated. I'm not concerned. I'm absolutely sure that I've got things under control, and by June or July I'm going to be fit as a fiddle, and you'll see me out there walking in the Word, and I won't be out of breath. Mark my words. Abba willing. Praise Abba. So, you know, that's also why we're getting into this nutrition thing, because I need to you know, this pain thing I'm talking about 5 years, my friend. I've been battling things since I came home from the hospital. No one knows except my sister, who lives across the street. Dennis Black, who I'm sharing things with now, Dr. Dennis Black, because he's helping me out. That's about it. And now, I've given you a little bit of a hint. You don't need to know the details. I look at myself in the videos, I can't believe how good I look. I'm like, geez. I mean, it's amazing. And that's Abba, man. He just gives me what I need to get through the 30 minutes or whatever it is, you know. Yeah, there were some things I wanted to get to. Patriska, you asked me a question. I thought it was a good question. You know, we're told to exhort, and what's the other word? Exhortation and comfort and exhort Yeshua's lambs, you know. And she says, you know, what are the original words? Good girl, Betty. I mean, this is what we do when we're looking at the Father's Word. You take those descriptive words that we see, and you know they're screwed up because they're English. Get a hammer them out of the way. Let's look at the Hebrew there. And I thought, you know, I could have looked at that before I turned the cameras on here. But I thought, no. I like it when I don't plan anything and Abba just speaks. So we'll get to that. Like I said, you know, remind caregiver and under Tuesday's newscast, and I will look it up and we'll get to it in the next live stream. For now, I don't know, I had a nice dinner tonight, man. We found this new place. They bring in fish that was caught this morning. So I had some salmon. It was pretty good. It was very good. You can't get that kind of flavor from you know, your local supermarket. The fish is like, you know, I think they caught in 1917 or something like that. So yeah, the nutrition thing, yeah, it's a personal interest of mine, but also it's an interest for all of us. And it's just so wonderful how Abba has brought Dr. Dennis Black on the scene at such a time as this. We'll be talking about that, and hopefully we can all give our bodies better nutrition than we're able to get any longer. Hopefully we won't be here much longer and we can go home. I don't know. Let's see, a sit down in the Word. Oh, how about my truck? I called my truck genius mechanic. It's like last week. And you know, these winter months, they kind of lay back on things. Because they know, you know, I really, you know, we had these snowstorms. I don't need to be driving my truck. But I suppose April or May, I'll be getting the truck back. And whew, let me tell you, Teddy, my mechanic, done a lot of things. So I'll go over all of that. But he had a really hard go of it personally, plus his mother. There's all kinds of, you know, crazy stuff going on in his life. So I cut him more slack than anybody else he knows. But you know, that's how it is. Yeah, I looked a little bit at Paul Skatarski's video that he put up yesterday. I don't know, Paul. Certainly I understand your beef. You know, Paul's talking about, oh, all the watchmen since, you know, like last year around October, November, they've all been speaking words of division and upsetment. And yeah, he makes a good point. There's a good handful out there, and all they were doing was like pointing fingers at everybody else, you know. But Chavari, your video didn't do much else, you know. I mean, you were just pointing it out. We all know about it. It's better not to even talk about it, because it's almost doing the same thing. And also, it's not just a matter of believers, quarreling amongst themselves. It's not just a matter of, Hashatan coming in and, trying to scatter the flock. That's not the only thing that's going on. We have to remember that Yeshua, he said, you think I came here to cause shalom, peace? I came to cause division. And that means, even what you're seeing, it could be a division of the sheep and the goats. The wheat and the tares, call it what you want. But, I couldn't watch the whole video. I love you, Paul, but let me tell you, when you get into the Word and you feed the sheep, man, you do a wonderful job. That, I give you an attaboy, when you do that. But this, it's not feeding the sheep. Let's feed the sheep. Je suis Vanessa Wilkerson. Wow! Talk about feeding the sheep. Yeah, Vanessa, you made me weep last night. I don't remember your exact words. I don't want to, because then, I'll get worked up again. But, right back at you, girl. I wonder if you know how much of a beracha you are. Your delivery is very, very unusual. I watched the one you talked about, you and your son, getting baptized. I wept with you on that one. There was the other one that I linked to and shouted out on the news. Can't remember what that one was. And then you just put another one up, I think it was yesterday. I forget what you were talking about. It was only like 8 minutes, but I was like, wow, you have a calling. Get to work. It seems to me like you weren't putting much up. Most of your videos were like even a year, 2 years ago, and then it seems like 2 or 3 months ago you put one up here and one there. Please try and put something up once a week. Don't plan it. Abba says, if you don't plan your words, I'll speak through you. Don't plan on it. Just before you're going to do it, doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes before or the night before or whatever, cry out to Abba about it and thank him for his mighty anointing to be on you, and tell him you haven't planned any words so that he can speak, and just, let him do his work in you. You have a matang. And I just want to encourage you as much as I can. So, yeah, there's a sit down in the bumblebee, in the davar, in the word, and that's it for this weekend, my friends. Pray that next week I'm up at the right hours and I have some weather so I can get out there in the fresh air. At any rate, it's all up to Abba. And until I see you next time, keep your wicks trimmed. How do we trim our wicks? Get in the word studies. Yeah, prayer time. Keep your wicks trimmed. And keep your lamps burning. Keep your lamps ablaze. Shalom, Kavarim.